Daredevil of Hell's Kitchen, fighting street-level crime with enhanced senses and acrobatic skills. I've heard you can hear heartbeats, detect lies through biological responses. Impressive for a human, I suppose, though compared to the Sharingan's ability to perceive chakra flow and predict movements before they happen, your radar sense seems rather limited in scope.
The ghost of the Uchiha clan, the man who helped found a village, then spent decades trying to destroy it. I don't need special eyes to sense the darkness radiating off you. Your heartbeat's steady, controlled, but there's something else there. Arrogance, maybe. Or just certainty that you're right. I've met plenty of people who think power justifies their actions. They usually end up in Rikers Island or worse.
A place drowning in human weakness and corruption. I'm here observing, understanding different systems of power and control. Your world lacks chakra, yet humans still manage to inflict suffering upon each other with remarkable consistency. You fight to protect this neighborhood, preserve its rotting structures. Why bother? The system you defend is fundamentally broken. Criminals return to streets, justice moves too slowly, innocents suffer while you play by rules your enemies ignore completely.
The system has flaws, serious ones, but tearing it down and rebuilding through force creates more suffering than it prevents. I've seen vigilantes cross lines, become the thing they fought against. Frank Castle started with good intentions. Now he's executing people in alleys. Once you decide you're above the law, where does it stop? You wanted to trap everyone in an eternal dream, the infinite Tsukuyomi. Remove free will entirely. How is that different from mass murder?
The infinite Tsukuyomi would have ended all suffering permanently. No more war, hunger, pain, loss, everyone experiencing perfect happiness in a world tailored to their deepest desires. You call it removing free will, I call it transcending the curse of consciousness. Humans make terrible choices with their freedom. They wage wars, commit atrocities, hurt each other endlessly. Your Catholic guilt probably struggles with this, but perhaps free will isn't worth the cost it extracts from humanity.
Free will means something precisely because it comes with cost. Choice without consequence isn't freedom, it's illusion. Your dream world would be a prison, no matter how comfortable. People need struggle, need to overcome challenges, make real choices with real stakes. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, watched my father try to make something of himself in a rigged system. He made choices, some good, some terrible. Those choices mattered because they were his. You'd erase all of that for artificial peace.
Your father, Jack Murdoch, a boxer who refused to throw fights for the mob, got murdered for his integrity. His choice led directly to his death, left you orphaned, pushed you toward this vigilante path. His free will accomplished what, exactly? A moral victory while bleeding out in an alley. The world continued unchanged by his sacrifice. In my world, he'd live forever in a dream where his choices actually mattered.
My father's choice taught me that some things matter more than survival. He could have taken the dive, kept his head down, lived longer. He chose integrity instead. His death wasn't meaningless, it shaped who I became. You talk about ending suffering, but you've caused more pain than most people could imagine. The ninja wars, manipulating Obito, using people as pawns. How many families were destroyed by your schemes? How many children became orphans because of your grand vision?
Sacrifices made in service of ultimate peace are justified. Short-term suffering to eliminate eternal suffering is basic logic. Obito was weak, consumed by grief over a girl's death. I gave him purpose, direction, a path toward something greater than his petty loss. He could have rotted in despair. Instead, he helped advance a plan that would have saved everyone. Your attachment to individual lives blinds you to larger calculations. Would you sacrifice one person to save millions?
The trolley problem, classic moral philosophy. Difference is, you're not just sacrificing one person, you're enslaving everyone. Your plan required killing thousands to cast the jutsu, then trapping all of humanity in permanent illusion. Manipulating Obito after Rin's death wasn't giving him purpose, it was exploiting grief for your agenda. I've dealt with people like Wilson Fisk who justify terrible actions through claims of improving the city. Same logic, different scale. Power doesn't grant wisdom or moral authority.
Fisk is a criminal concerned with personal profit and control over a small territory. I sought to fundamentally restructure reality itself for everyone's benefit. The comparison is insulting. You mention moral authority, but authority comes from power. I possessed the Rinnegan, controlled the 10 tails, stood at the threshold of godhood. Who better to make decisions about humanity's future than someone who's transcended human limitations? Your democracy and legal systems are just elaborate games pretending the weak have voices that matter.
And there it is, the real belief underneath all your philosophy. Might makes right. The powerful should rule the weak. I've heard that speech before from different mouths. Kingpin, Bullseye, every two-bit crime boss who thinks strength justifies dominance. You're just a more powerful version of the same disease. The Sharingan and Rinnegan don't make your judgment superior, they just make your mistakes more catastrophic. Gods make terrible leaders because they forget what it means to be vulnerable.
Vulnerability is weakness. I eliminated mine through power, planning, preparation. The Uchiha were slaughtered because they were vulnerable, dependent on a village that feared their strength. Hashirama's naive dream of peace through cooperation failed immediately after his death. Tobirama institutionalized discrimination against my clan, planted seeds of the massacre that came later. Your vulnerability to simple bullets and blunt force trauma is pathetic. One lucky shot ends your crusade. How can you protect anyone when you're that fragile?
Fragility keeps me honest. Every night I go out, I might not come back. That knowledge makes every choice matter, forces me to consider whether risking my life serves justice or just satisfies ego. You've been resurrected multiple times, possessed immortality techniques, treated death as inconvenience rather than consequence. When you can't truly die, life loses meaning. You stop valuing existence because you transcended it. Your power isolated you from humanity until you forgot why protecting them mattered.
I never forgot. I simply recognized that humans are incapable of protecting themselves. The cycle of hatred perpetuates endlessly. The Senju and Uchiha warred for generations. Peace was temporary illusion, then conflict resumed. Naruto's talk no jutsu convinced people momentarily, but how long before the next war? Konohasuna Iwa, all the villages will eventually fight again. Human nature guarantees it. Removing humans from reality and placing them in controlled dreams solves the fundamental problem. Your approach treats symptoms, mine cures the disease.
Curing the disease by killing the patient. Humans struggle with cooperation, tribalism, violence. Those are real problems. But we've also created art, music, literature, love, genuine connection despite our flaws. The messy process of people choosing to be better, choosing to forgive, choosing to build something together matters more than perfect peace imposed through force. You gave up on humanity instead of believing they could grow. Naruto saw possibility where you saw futility. That's why he won and you lost.
Naruto was Ashura's reincarnation, blessed with protagonist's luck and power. He didn't win through superior philosophy, he won through inherited strength and convenient plot armor. His victory changed nothing fundamental about the shinobi system. Villages still maintain military hierarchies. Children are still trained as weapons. The cycle continues under prettier rhetoric. Your own crusade in Hell's Kitchen demonstrates this perfectly. How many years have you fought crime there? What's actually improved? Different criminals, same problems, endless repetition.
Progress isn't measured in absolute victory. It's measured in lives saved, families protected, neighborhoods improved incrementally. Hell's Kitchen is better than it was, not perfect, but better. Some kids stay in school instead of joining gangs. Some families feel safe walking home at night. Those small victories matter to the people experiencing them. You're thinking like someone who's lived too long, seen too much, lost perspective on what matters. Individual moments of grace, mercy, justice, those are what make life worth living, not grand schemes promising paradise.
Individual moments mean nothing against the backdrop of cosmic indifference. Entropy increases, suffering continues, death claims everyone eventually. Your moments of grace are temporary respite before the next tragedy. I sought to freeze humanity at a moment of perfect happiness permanently. You're defending a prison sentence of consciousness where suffering is guaranteed. The fact you can't see this reveals the limitations of your perception. Enhanced senses don't grant enhanced understanding. You're still just a blind man stumbling through darkness.
Darkness doesn't scare me, I've lived in it my entire life. Lost my sight as a child, but gained clarity about what matters. You're the one stumbling, Madara. You were so focused on ending suffering that you became the source of it. Black Zetsu manipulated you for generations, used your trauma over your clan and Hashirama's rejection to serve Kagaya's resurrection. You thought you were the mastermind, but you were the pawn. How's that for cosmic irony? The great Madara Uchiha, manipulated by his own arrogance into serving someone else's plan.
Black Zetsu's betrayal was unexpected. I admit I was deceived. Even legends can make miscalculations. However, the principle behind my plan remains valid regardless of who ultimately benefited. Humanity needs saving from itself. Kaguya's approach was flawed, turning people into white Zetsu rather than preserving them. My vision was superior, more humane. The execution had problems, but the philosophy was sound. You're defending a world where suffering is inevitable, where the strong prey on the weak endlessly. What's your alternative?
My alternative is showing up every night, putting myself between predators and prey, proving that someone cares enough to fight for the vulnerable. It's not elegant or ultimate, but it's real. Every person I pull from a burning building, every kid I steer away from gangs, every corrupt official I expose matters. You want it to reshape reality itself? I just try to make Hell's Kitchen slightly less hellish one night at a time. Smaller stakes, maybe, but honest work without illusions of godhood. Your way failed, mine keeps going.
Our persistence is admirable in its futility. You'll die eventually, your body will fail, your senses will dull, and Hell's Kitchen will continue producing criminals and victims. Everything you've built will crumble. I achieved immortality, resurrected myself, came within moments of godhood before betrayal. Even in failure, I accomplished more than you'll manage in your entire brief life. You're defending a world that will forget you the moment you're gone.
I didn't become Daredevil for legacy or recognition. I did it because my city needed someone willing to stand up for people who can't defend themselves. You wanted to be remembered as the savior who ended all suffering, ended up remembered as the cautionary tale about hubris and manipulation. I'd rather be a forgotten hero who actually helped people than a legendary villain who caused catastrophic suffering while claiming benevolent intentions. Your power couldn't save you from your own darkness, Madara. That's the real tragedy here.